some data flow design. We'll take a simple example to load the data from Excel file to HANA database using this BODS. So first go to Data Services Designer. So log into the BODS server. First name BODS copy. Username administrator. The password India123 I kept. So select the repository BODS. So in case if you get a message like this, continue. It will load the Data Services Designer. In the meantime, see one Excel file. So we'll take this Excel file. Simple data. Customer ID, name and city. So first of all, what you have to do is you have to follow these steps, what I'm showing you now. So you want to get proper results. Place this file in this specific location. This is the location which you have to use. Use this path 10.0.0.16/tmp. Place your file here. In case when you are opening this path, the shared directory, if it is asking for user ID password, use the same BODS user ID password. Administrator, I capital India123. So here you place the file like this. So that's the first thing you need to do. Then after that, in Data Services Designer, for this format, for this file, we need to create a format. As I told you yesterday, to connect with the sources and targets, there are two options available. One is formats, another one is data stores. So in the case of files, we'll be using formats. For anything other than file, we'll be using data stores. So as our source is a file, let us create a format. So under local object library here, select formats, select Excel workbooks, right click on that, click on new. Give some name, format name. And you can define the field names if you want. Something like this. Customer ID, customer name. like this. Then specify the directory path. This is the directory path we need to specify, where the file is placed. Then specify the file name. With extension. Choose the access method worksheet. We have the data in sheet 1. Specify the sheet name. All the fields. And check this checkbox, use first row values as column names. So sometimes you'll have a doubt if you have more number of columns. Maybe if you have hundreds of columns in the file, it will be difficult for you to define these field names manually like this. So in case you don't want to define these field names manually, you can click on this import schema button. So it will import those column headings and defines the properties on its own. And then you can modify according to your requirements. That's also another option here. So once you define this, all the properties in the format, okay. So remember this format which we have created now, this will act as the source in our data flow. Whereas when it comes to target is our HANA database table. Say in our catalog, in our schema, say we have a table, tab 1 or tab 2, where there is no data. So we'll take this as target table into the data flow. So for doing that, as we know that target is a database, we have to create a data store. So to create a data store for HANA database, click on this create data store. Give some name. Data store type is database and the database type is HANA, version HANA 1.x. So I already shown you how to create a DSN, use the DSN. I'm using DSN underscore HDB. The user system and the password. The triples underscore 123 R capital. Okay. So now you can see that the data store is created for HANA. But this data store is not going to be our target. Our target is, in this HANA database, the table. The tab 2 from that schema is going to be the target. So we need to have the information about the table here. We call it as metadata information. So that metadata we need to import for the table. So under the HANA data store, right click on the tables, click on import by name, specify the name of the table and the schema name. Like this. Import. What we are importing here is only metadata of the table. So you can see that the metadata is imported. So this is tab 2. We double click on that, we can find that metadata information. Now this table is going to act as a target in our data flow. Now, so to create the data flow, first create a project. Give some name. So you can find that project, newly created project in the project area. Right click on the project, create a new batch job. Like this. Then after creating this batch job, selecting the job on the right hand side, we have this blank area which we call it as workspace. So in this workspace here, you right click, add new data flow. It's the data flow. I'm renaming it. Like this. Double click on the data flow. So drag and drop this format which we have created earlier as source into the data flow. Whereas our HANA database table tab 2 as target. Like this. So when you drag and drop that HANA table, it's asking whether you want to make it as a source or target. You select the option make target. Now the fields in the source, fields in the target may be different or maybe same. You need to do the mapping. So to do the mapping between the source and the target fields, we have to add a query transform. So in that workspace, right click, you click on add new query. This is for performing mapping. We call it as query transform. Now to do the mapping, drag the links like this. Now double click on the query. Now you can see that source fields and target fields. They need not match. They can be different. So you do the mapping like this. If it's a field-to-field mapping, select the source field and drag and drop it onto the corresponding target field. So like this, you can do a simple way of mapping. So after performing the mapping and the query transform closes, you validate all this, whatever we did, the total data flow designing you can validate. Click on validate all. You can see that message, no errors found. And then save all. Whatever we have created now, everything will be saved into the repository, the BODS repository. Then you execute this batch job. Remember, batch job is the only object which can be executed directly. So in the BODS, so that can be executed directly or it can be scheduled. Scheduling need to be done by administrators. Yeah, to execute this, right click the batch job, click on execute. The execution of the batch job is done by a job server. So showing the job server here. Continue with that. Oh, it's not working. Refused. Let's try once complete. Okay, key code expired. That's 20. Install that key code.
Malik, this is Gopi.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, I'm unable to connect this BODS server, Malik. It's giving logon failed. I'm using same administrator and India 123 iCaps.
What's the first name you give?
Uh,
First name BODS 40.
yeah, BODS 40.
You try now. Okay. Maybe there's some licensing issue. You're doing it now or you tried
Yeah,
yesterday?
no, I'm doing it now. I tried today morning also. It didn't log in, so I thought server is down, but still I'm getting the same problem.
No, no.
Logon
Try
failed
me.
to the specified system. Check name, port number.
I'm doing it the same, right? Yeah. Same system actually. Whatever the system I'm using, same system you're also accessing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Administrator you're giving in lowercase.
Yeah, all lowercase. Yeah, I got it. So it's logging now.
See that batch job is executing now. Looks like there is an error. Terminated with error. What's this? data source name. Let us see the data source name here. I'm adding a new one. We have actually yesterday I reset this. So let us add this DSN once again with name DSN underscore HTTP connection to HANA. Right. Okay. Let us execute this.
To create the database also same user, right? Username administrator, password India123, right?
For what? DSN.
No. To create the new data store.
HANA data store you are speaking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, another store.
Create HANA details only you need to provide. HANA when you are connecting to user system. HANA database user is system and password is repulse underscore 123 R capital.
Oh, one second. What is the username? System, no?
System.
System and password is
Repulse underscore 123 R capital. Same details what we used to log into HANA database from HANA Studio.
okay. Okay.
Same details. So now you can observe this job is completed successfully here. So to check how many records are processed, we can click on this button, monitor. So there are three, you can see the row count 3. So to find out whether this data is loaded or not, go to HANA Studio, see the table. Earlier it was blank, now refresh this table. So you can find those 3 records loaded. So this way you can simply load the data from any file. It can be Excel file or any flat file you can take, and you can load it. Just give me a minute, 1 minute. So there are 2 important things which you need to take care of. One is making sure that the file path what I given, you place your file in that path. And the second point is your DSN, the data source name. When you create a DSN in the local system, means that remote system you are connecting to, so you should have that name, a DSN underscore HD. Don't give your own names. So these are the 2 important points you need to take care of. Once you've done that, you will get proper results display. See, sometimes it may happen that you have some similar kind of files generated by a system from which you have to load the data, multiple files. So how we can load the data from multiple files which have a similar structure? So it's pretty simple. Say, just like this file, customer, say assume that there's one more file, say customer 1, where some similar data you have. So let us take one more file here, say customer 1. This is having another 3 records. This also I'm placing into the same path, like this. Say now we want to load the data from both these files at a time into the same target table. Let's see how we can do it. I'm deleting the data from this particular table. Yes, you may come across that duplication errors because you have primary key. That's why I deleted that. Now when we have the data in the multiple files, what you do is go to the format, the format properties. You can use wildcard characters. You can specify customer star.xlsx. So this will read the data from all those files whose name stands with customer. And run this batch job now. So you can see that results displayed successfully completed. Now you can find that there are 6 records processed. Row count 6 we have. Now go and check this table. Refresh table. Those 6 records loaded into the table will be shown. So always to check this result, we don't need to come to this HANA Studio. You want to check it from the designer itself. We can do it. So here in the flow, the HANA table, we can see a magnifier icon here. You can just click on that. Here also it will show you the data which we have loaded. So here itself we can verify that the data is successfully loaded or not without going to that HANA. Any other option. And sometimes it may happen that we don't have any target table available. Here in this case we have target table available, we are able to load the data successfully. So in case there is no target table in the HANA database, so you want to load the table, load the data into a table which we want to create dynamically on the fly just before loading the data. So that's also possible. So we can make the system to generate the table and then load data into the table. We're going to see how it can be done. So in such cases, when there is no target table available for you, there is an option here called template tables. If you go to the data store, there is an option to use template tables. B74 HANA, this template tables we can use. Let us see how we can use template tables and load the data. So for that, I'm creating a new batch job. So B74 job 2. I'm adding a new data flow. Like this. Now in this data flow, source is our format. Whereas instead of table as a target, now let us take template table, because we are assuming that there is no target table available. When you drag and drop this template table, the HANA template table, it's asking for table name. So you can give your table name, say new table name, and the schema under which you want to create it, say B74 SAP. That's it. As usual, you need to add a new query transform. Like this, double click on the query. Now observe, as there is no target table, we don't have any columns in the target. So you can do in two ways. You want to have some specific column names. You can right click on the query. On the right side, you can create new output columns. This is one option you have. Or else, you can drag and drop these columns from the left side. This way. More importantly, this table which will be created now will be a column store table. This table is created as a column store table. So it's mandatory to have a primary key for the column store table. So make sure that you make this field like cust ID as a primary key column. So right click on that column. So you have an option to make it as a primary key. Select it. If you miss this, your job cannot be executed. So select that cust ID as primary key. Now you validate all. Save all. And run the batch job. So you can see that job is completed successfully. Now you go and verify the schema. You can find a new table created here with the name cust, and you can find data in this. It's a column store table basically. So you can see that. So this way you can use both these options, tables and template tables. So here we are executing these batch jobs directly. Suppose in case if these batch jobs need to be scheduled, the scheduling of these batch jobs will be taken care by the administrators. So in case if administrator need to schedule this, you can use this tool called Data Services Management Console, which will be opened in the browser. Log in with those details, administrator details, the host name, the user ID and the password. Log on. And here we need to select the administrator. So under this batch you can find your repository, BODS, select it. So you can find the details like the log tracing details of the batch jobs executed will be shown here. You can see that B74 underscore job 2 is executed and the details about the job you have. In case if scheduling need to be done, you can go to batch job configuration. So it will show you the entire list of batch jobs. So in this list now you need to find out your batch job which you want to schedule. Somewhere here we have these widget. So here we can click on add schedule and specify the scheduling options whatever you want. Once in a day or multiple times in a day, start times. So all these details you can mention and you can schedule it so that it will be executed in some regular intervals. So usually this task has to be taken care of by your administrators only. The administrator privileges are required for the scheduling options. Okay, so those are the simple options you have to perform data loading. Once we know how to do a data load by designing a simple data flow like this, it will be more easy for us to work with the data loads also. Anyhow, first we'll practice this. I'll show you a few more examples as I told you. Next we'll see how to load the data from a database like Oracle. Then we'll go for loading the data from SAP ECC. Okay. So those tomorrow we'll take it up. Is any possibility you have to attend a session on Saturday before noon?
I don't have any issues. I can attend.
I'm planning to conduct on an extra session on the day.
Okay.
About Nanbu?